We're 2 weeks away from the Texas high school football playoffs, and there's still a lot to decide. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks presented by Visit Arlington, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and can you believe it? We are into week 10 of the Texas high school football season. In fact, Friday night will be the first Friday night of November. Hard to believe that with the playoffs right around the corner. In fact, 2 weeks from today, we will be previewing playoff games. That's right, the Texas high school football playoffs are nearly upon us. But there are huge games all across the state. In fact, it's a huge slate of games in the small school ranks, 4A and below this week. But we start in Lancaster. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Beverly D. Humphrey Tiger Stadium in Lancaster. It is a massive 5A clash in the DFW Metroplex as the Lancaster Tigers welcome in the Highland Park Scots. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, Lancaster's big plays. Lancaster is probably going to be the fastest team on every game that they play, and this game will be no different. And when you look at this roster, it's easy to see why. Trey Bradford, their running back, is lightning in a bottle. When you add in a guy like DQ James and Latrell Caples, they have absolute burners all over the field, and they hit home runs. They hit a lot of big plays. That is going to be a big advantage for them, not only in this game, but in every game going forward. Can Highland Park's defense, led by defensive end Prince Dorba, hold Lancaster in check, or will the Tigers hit a few home runs? Key number two, HP's hot starts. Highland Park tends to come out of the gates fast. I think that's a credit to their outstanding coaching staff. And really, all year, they've thrown the first punch, except in two of their games. One of them was against Rockwall in the opener, where they went to the wire against the Yellow Jackets and ended up pulling out a close victory. The other one was their loss to Frisco Lone Star. So you can make an argument that the two times they haven't started fast have been their two toughest games. Now, look, the other games, they've been just fine, and quarterback Chandler Morris and company have lit it up in the first quarter. So can Lancaster's Larondo Johnson and the Tigers defense keep this thing close in the first quarter, or will Highland Park have another hot start? And key number three, cleanliness. I'm not talking about keeping the locker room clean or freshly pressed jerseys. No, instead I'm talking about playing a clean game, which is an absolute necessity if you're going to beat Highland Park. This is a team that pounces on mistakes maybe better than any program in the nation. And last week, Lancaster's big win over Mansfield Timberview did come with a little bit of an asterisk. They committed 13 penalties in that game, and that simply is not going to cut it if you're going to knock off a team like Highland Park. Can Lancaster play a clean game, or will they give Highland Park something to pounce on? Who am I picking? I'm going with Highland Park. I got to pick the Scots in this one because I think that they're going to be able to find a way to contain the Lancaster home run hitting ability, and more importantly, I think that they're going to be able to find a way around this dynamic Tigers defense using their quarterback Chandler Morris, and most specifically his legs. Now look, Highland Park has been prone to turnovers in some of their games, and Lancaster is happy to take those. I think they'll have an opportunity to turn the ball over a couple of times in this game. And if they can, then the Tigers have an outstanding shot of pulling off this victory. But for now, I think Randy Allen wins number 400. Give me Highland Park. Let's go to the South Plains, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Nolan Stadium in New Deal. It's a matchup of undefeateds as the Post Antelopes take on the New Deal Lions. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, the big test. This is the only matchup of undefeated teams in the state of Texas in Week 10, and it comes with a big question, which is, have these teams really been tested? You know, Post does have a very impressive win. They beat Abernathy in a rain-shortened game back in non-district play, but, you know, the rain shortened, the weather, you know, there's a couple of things that make you question whether or not, if that game had been played to its completion, if Post would have pulled off the win. Take nothing away from them. That's a great win for the Antelopes, but still. On the other side, for New Deal, they've only got one win this year over a team with a record above 500. That's their win over Olton a couple of weeks ago. This is the biggest test for both of these teams so far. Can they pass it? Key number two, Post's push. The offensive line for Post is quite simply excellent. They're a big reason why they are averaging more than 300 yards per game on the ground with their running back Ashton Jefferson and their quarterback Tatum Thetford. This is a really dynamic Antelopes rushing attack that New Deal is going to have to find an answer for. That's a big question in this one. Can the Post offensive line get that push against New Deal, or will New Deal's defensive front come up big? And key number 3, new deals, new faces. If the last time you paid attention to the Lions was when they were playing in the state championship game last year, that's okay. You know, they are up there in the South Plains and in the 2A ranks. It's kind of hard to follow some of these teams, but this is a very different team. Gone are the likes of quarterback Jet Whitfield and their outstanding wide receiver DK Blaylock, and in their place are a pair of really exciting new faces. Hayden Caudill, their quarterback, has stepped up in a very big way, and they have an outstanding young running back in Larrick Eaton, who has really been outstanding for the Lions. This is a new look, new deal team. What happens when the lights turn on the brightest? Who am I picking? I'm going with Post. I think the Antelopes come home with the win on the strength of their running game and, something we haven't mentioned yet, their defense. The Antelopes defense has been absolutely terrific all year long, and I think that they're going to be able to bottle up this New Deal attack. I think this game figures to be close, and I think there's actually a chance it's relatively low scoring because of the way that both these defenses are playing and the fact that they both like to run the ball the majority of the time. But for now, I think Post gets its big win. I like the Antelopes. Let's go out east, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Bulldog Stadium in Carthage as the Henderson Lions visit the rival Carthage Bulldogs. And when I say rival, I mean rival. These teams do not like each other. This is a blood feud out there in East Texas, and Carthage has really had the upper hand for the better part of the last half decade, and that's something that I know sticks in the craw of Henderson. They would love nothing more than to go and knock off Carthage at their barn, and I think they're actually well suited to do it. They've got an outstanding running game led by Caleb Medford. Carthage, you know, for all the talk we have about their offense and their high-flying attack, quarterback Kai Horton has been fantastic. Calvante Dixon, their receiver, has been terrific as well. But the real star of Scott Surratt's squad is the defense. They have been suffocating all year long. I think they keep it going. Give me Carthage. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Lions Stadium in Franklin. It's a 3A clash between the Diboll Lumberjacks and the Franklin Lions. And running game and defense? Oh yeah, running game and defense. That is the name of the game in this one, as these two teams are built actually really similarly. Teams that like to keep the ball on the ground and then like to punish you on defense. I'm really impressed with the way that De'Aris McMillan has grounded and pounded for this Diboll team, and their defense has been absolutely lights out all year long. Seth Spiller is the new name to know for Franklin. The sophomore running back has been dynamic for the Lions. They want to grind it out on the ground behind that big offensive line and let the defense do the rest of the work. I think this game is very hard-hitting, very physical, and potentially very close. But I like Diboll in this one. Give me the Lumberjacks. And 7 p.m. Friday night at Gordonwood Stadium in Brownwood. It is a huge state-ranked 4A clash as the Brownwood Lions welcome in the defending state champion Waco La Vega Pirates. And what an opportunity for the Lions to inject themselves into the state championship conversation there in Region 2 as they welcome in the defending state champs. You know, what Sammy Burnett has done there at Brownwood is awful impressive, and he's got a number of weapons that lead the way. Reese Rogers and A.J. McCarty, chief among them. But this is a game where they have to match Waco La Vega physically, which is not an easy thing to do. This is a La Vega team that prides itself on being the most physical team on the field in every turn, and that is going to make this game a real slugfest. Keep an eye on linebacker DeMarquise Hayes for this La Vega defense. I think he is the key in this one. I think this game's very close. It's really hard to call, but I give La Vega the edge in this one. Give me the Pirates. But those are far from the only big games in Week 10 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. Lake Travis beats Buda Hayes. Give me Cisco to stay hot with a win over Anson, and I like LaGrange over Belleville. Panhandle over Stinnett West, Texas. Buffalo takes down Edgewood, and Vanderbilt Industrial gets a win over Hallettsville. Corpus Christi Calallen beats Alice. I like Christoval over Miles, and in a really fun game out east, I like Dangerfield in a wild one over Paul Pewitt. Arlington Lamar gets by Arlington Bowie. Give me El Paso Del Valle over El Paso Eastlake. And one of the great stories of Texas high school football this year, I think Sabine stays hot with a win over Gladewater. Barbers Hill passes its big test with a win over Port Neches Groves. Give me El Paso Hanks over El Paso Isleta. And Kerrville Tivy beats Lockhart. Newton over Corrigan Camden. Comfort over Brady. And Manville takes down Fort Bend Willow Ridge. Down in the valley, I like Brownsville Veterans Memorial over Brownsville Pace. Up in the Panhandle, I like Dumas to stay hot with a win over Pampa. And in Houston, I like Klein Collins over the Woodlands. Big rivalry game in Laredo, I like United over United South. Give me Wink to take down Van Horn. And Mission Veterans Memorial gets by La Jolla Palmview. Grandview gets a scare, but they beat Whitney. Groveton gets by Shelbyville, and La Feria stays perfect with a win over Hidalgo. San Saba beats Crawford in 2 big games in San Antonio. I like San Antonio O'Connor to get by San Antonio Brennan, and give me San Antonio Wagner over San Antonio Veterans Memorial. Temple and Midway is always fun. I think the Wildcats get the win this year. Give me Cotulla to take down Marion, and I like Jourdanton over Universal City Randolph. Iowa Park beats Bridgeport. Give me Lindsay over Seymour in a really tough game to call in the Little Southwest Conference. I like Odessa Permian over Wolfforth Friendship. Troy takes control of that wild Central Texas district with a win over Lago Vista. Give me Windthorst to beat Electra. And in our 6-man game of the week, I like May over Gorman. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram at Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Week 10 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you.